All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Tim Weisberg, Deputy Director, Marketing and Public Affairs for the Office of Traffic Safety. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a really important message to give. April's Distracted Driving Awareness Month. We have wonderful speakers here, so thank you to all of our partners for being here. And phones are one of those things. We use them all the time, but not while we're driving, right? So that's the goal today, is to get that message out there. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, OTS Director, Barbara Rooney.
Good morning. I have a friend here with me. Well, good morning, and thank you for being here today. And thank you, Tim. I am Barbara Rooney, the Director of the California Office of Traffic Safety, and this is truly a collaboration in action. I am happy to be joined this morning by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or Nitsa, to those of you who know that acronym, Caltrans, the California Highway Patrol, and Impact Teen Drivers. And as many of you know, April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and we are kicking off a new media campaign encouraging drivers to get off your apps and stop phoning around. The message is simple. If you're driving, stay off the phone. It's a message that will be reinforced through our new public service announcements on streaming services, social media, and the radio. And we will show you the new 15-second PSA shortly. Distracted driving, folks, it's preventable. It's a choice. It's a choice to be on the phone while you're driving. And it's up to all of us to make the right choice. Be disciplined and take action to be safe on the road. The law is clear here, and the risk is just as clear. Drivers know this, yet many still decide it's okay. Well, it's not. Even if you think it's safe to do so. It's about making a concerted effort not to break the law, not to put yourself and others at risk. This is especially important for our teens. As I look at Impact Teen Driving Executive here, it's especially important for our teens because, like anything new, there's a learning curve, right? Anything you're beginning, there's a learning curve associated with it, and distractions certainly don't help. We need to stick to good habits and safe driving practices, and a big part of that is putting the phone away and avoiding other distractions, being attentive while you're driving. And as a passenger, speaking up for safety. Don't be that distraction in the vehicle. And folks, don't we have enough screen time? Really, right? At work, watching TV, scrolling on our cell phones. We look at plenty of screens throughout the day. I know I do. And when you're driving, the screen, your screen in the car is the road in front of you. Just remember that. Your screen is the road in front of you. Make it a goal, make it a pledge. I won't drive distracted. Speak up for safety, get off your apps, and just drive. And now I am pleased to introduce the Region 9 Administrator of Nitsa, Chris Murphy.
Good morning. I want to thank Director Rooney for inviting Nitsa to be here today to help you announce the kickoff of California's newest ad, which is before you get on the road, get off your apps. We all know that cell phone use while driving is dangerous. We also know that in the past 10 years, cell phone use while driving has more than doubled. Nationally, in 2020, there were 3,142 people killed and an estimated 325,000 people injured in traffic crashes involving distracted drivers. Of those killed, 587 were pedestrians or bicyclists or others. If you've ever been in a crash, and many of us have, you know how quickly it happens. The average crash happens in less than 2 seconds. That's the reaction time. Using a cell phone while driving often results in what we call inattention blindness. This happens when your brain isn't seeing what's right in front of you, and it's happened to everyone. It's because you're too busy with your call or on your phone, looking in an app, text, what have you. True multitasking is really a myth. Part of the problem is that when people frequently do this, driving becomes almost automatic. And the more you do that without crashing, the more likely you are to keep doing it. We're repeatedly rewarded by not getting into a crash. But it just takes one time to regret could result in a lifetime of regret. And it's that one crash, it's that one time when you've been doing it all the time that'll be something that you just can't get back. So I want to thank Director Rooney again for inviting Nitsa to be here to help you kick off your new distracted driving ad. And I really believe that California is a national leader in what you guys do when it comes to traffic safety. And we have Caltrans, CHP, and the Office of Traffic Safety. They're doing a wonderful job. Thank you very much.
All right, next up on our lineup, we have the Acting Director of Caltrans, Stephen Keck. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you, Director Rooney, and good morning to all of you. I'm excited to be here today to speak about our new partnership with the OTS on this distracted driving campaign and to address safety on our highways. We all know that distracted driving is anything that takes your focus away from your primary job as a driver, which is to focus on the road. That can be eating and drinking, which I think most of us has probably done. It can be reaching for an object, or worse, reaching in the back seat for something you just have to have. It could be messing with a map, trying to find out where you're going, or these days, usually it's fighting with your navigation system. And of course, and certainly probably the worst, is texting while driving. The average amount of time that you're not looking at the road while you're texting is 5 seconds. And in that time, if you're traveling at 55 miles an hour, you can travel the length of a football field, goalpost to goalpost, in that 5 seconds. At 70 miles an hour, you can go 1/10 of a mile in 5 seconds. Now imagine driving down your highway at whatever speed you like to go and closing your eyes for 5 seconds. Is that a terrifying image to you? You don't know what's going on for 5 seconds. You wouldn't do that. But when somebody is texting and driving, that's exactly what they're doing. And in that 5 seconds, a life or lives can be lost. So I'm out here today because there's a really good synergy between Distracted Driving Month in April and this week, which is National Highway Work Zone Awareness Week. And in work zones, it's not just our Caltrans employees or our contractors that are at risk. National statistics show that 4 out of 5 deaths in a work zone accident, work zone crash, there are no accidents. 4 out of 5 of those are the driver or passengers in the vehicle. But let's be clear, when there are workers on the road and they are involved in a work zone crash, they are by far the most vulnerable for injury and death. And so most of these collisions are rear-end collisions, and they're caused by speeding and, of course, distracted driving. And while we strive to provide the safest work zone we can, that moving traffic is the biggest single risk. And that risk increases exponentially if those drivers are driving distracted. According to research, a distracted driver increases their risk of serious crash or near crash by 550% if they're distracted. That's 5.5 times just by being distracted. Distracted driving isn't multitasking. It's the equivalent of closing your eyes for 5 seconds while you're driving. We ask motorists to please put your phone away. Pay attention to your surroundings. Before you go out on your drive, take a look at what's along your route. Be aware that work zones, they change or can change daily. So while you're driving, look out for our workers, for our contractors, for CHP on the side of the road, tow truck drivers, other road users, whether they be driving on a bicycle or walking. They're very vulnerable. Also, of course, put away your phone. Turn your phone's ringer off or your sound off so it's not beeping at you every 5 seconds demanding your attention. Your phone, almost all of them have a driving mode now. Hey Siri, turn on my driving mode. She's not going to do it. Normally, oh, she did it. Nobody heard it, but she did it. You can turn on your driving app, and that will tell your friends who are trying to contact you that you're driving, and you'll get back to them when you're safe. They care more about seeing you than they care about your text. If you're a passenger, your lives are at risk too. Oh, now she's talking to me. But if you're a passenger, there's a lot you can do too, right? If your driver is being inattentive, remind them. Don't be afraid of sounding like a jerk. It shows that you care. Maybe you can help remove a distraction, navigate for them, find that perfect radio station, get them to pay attention to what they need to do, which is get all of you to safety. So we all need to do our part to stay safe on our roads and make our roads safer for both our workers and the folks that we travel the roads with, whether they be on a bicycle, in a car, or walking. Lives really do depend on it. They depend on your attention. And we ask everybody to do their part. The life that you save could very well be your own or someone you love. Thank you very much. I'd like to hand the I'd like to hand the mic over to CHP Enforcement and Planning Division Chief Keith Davis.
Thank you, Acting Director Keck and distinguished guests. It's an honor to be here. Good morning. I'd like to begin by thanking OTS and Caltrans for co-hosting today's event as part of National Distracted Driving Month. Every year, traffic safety organizations throughout the nation set aside April to remind all of us to help keep our roads safe and, most importantly, keep our attention focused on driving. Anytime you are operating a vehicle, your primary focus should always be on the road. You cannot drive safely unless the task of driving has your full attention. Distracted driving is such a serious issue that the California Highway Patrol and many of our law enforcement agency partners throughout the state and nation are actively engaging in enforcement and educational messages such as this to help get the message out that distracted driving is dangerous. Last year, there were more than 400,000 motor vehicle crashes in California, and nearly 14 of those crashes involved drivers who, by their own admission, were being inattentive. These are actions that are 100% preventable on our roadways. In fact, reckless and distracted driving is one of the #1 killer of teens in our country. Using cell phones, shuffling a playlist, texting, eating, simply talking to your friends, these are all activities that we enjoy and engage in every day. Unfortunately, these can become life-threatening hazards when done while driving. As I mentioned, the CHP and our allied agency law enforcement partners, we're serious about deterring distracted driving and cell phone use behind the wheel. Distracted drivers not only put their own lives at danger, but also they increase the risk of injuring and even killing their passengers, other motorists, bicyclists, or as you heard previously, even highway safety workers and other victims such as those that we wouldn't normally think about. Last year, the CHP officers issued nearly 56,000 citations to drivers in violation of California's hands-free law. In the past 5 years alone, we've issued more than 400 citations. But again, it's not about the citations we issue, it's about getting the message out and trying to deter this dangerous behavior. As you've heard previously, given the dangers associated with this practice, officers throughout the state will be out aggressively enforcing distracted driving laws this month. As part of this campaign, last week the CHP conducted its first of 2 statewide zero-tolerance enforcement efforts on April 7th, and on that day we issued 835 citations for the hands-free law in California in a single day. Our next enforcement effort is currently scheduled for April 20th, again with the ultimate goal of ensuring our messaging lasts all month and hopefully all year to keep everyone safe. With a strong combination of enforcement and education, I really believe that California can help drive down these alarming statistics. Distracted driving crashes are not accidents. They are completely preventable, a belief that we are trying to instill early on in every driver. In addition to enforcement, as I mentioned previously, education is a huge component of this effort. And on that note, I'd like to turn the mic over to one of our best partners in this effort, Dr. Kelly Browning, the Executive Director of Impact Teen Drivers.
Good morning. Impact Teen Drivers is a proud partner in the effort to change the culture around distracted driving. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. We provide school programs, parent-teen workshops, and online educational modules that engage, educate, and empower teens and their parents to stop the #1 killer, car crashes. Whether you're a driver or a passenger, we want you all to think twice at what type of distractions you bring when you're behind the wheel, because it will truly take each of us making a conscious decision, as Director Rooney said, to change the way we drive, to prevent the tragedies that are caused by distracted driving, because they are 100% preventable. We work closely with the California Highway Patrol, the Office of Traffic Safety, and we want to stop something that we know is preventable. Distracted driving is dangerous for anyone, any age, but in particular for young people who are inexperienced. When you combine distraction and inexperience, you have a very strong combination that can become lethal. Teens are more than twice as likely to be in a fatal or serious car crash than more experienced drivers. And we aren't talking about an obscure disease that we don't know how to control, we don't know what the treatment is. We know what works to reduce teen driving fatalities and serious injuries. And by helping teens and their families understand that putting distractions away, following the California graduated driver licensing laws, slowing down, buckling up, staying focused on the drive each and every ride are all evidence-based strategies that do save lives. While young drivers are in the process of developing their own driving habits that will honestly last them an entire lifetime, and then they'll role model those behaviors for their children. The reality is those young drivers have been watching and listening to us as parents since they were forward-facing in a car seat. Parents were the #1 influencer of our teens' driving attitudes and behaviors. If we choose to drive 5 miles over the speed limit, drinking a latte, driving with our knee, we can't wonder why our kids are going to drive 10 miles over the speed limit, live streaming, eating a burrito. So if I had one suggestion, one phrase, I'd ask parents, be the driver you want your child to be. Together, we can help young people make better choices on the road and change the driving culture. It wasn't that long ago that none of us wore seatbelts, okay? And now today, California touts one of the highest seatbelt compliance rates in the United States. We changed the culture. That's what we need to do with distracted driving. Together we can stop the #1 killer of young people. Thank you, and I'd like to invite Director Rooney back to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Browning. Important message. I want to thank all of our partners that are here today. Thank you so much, Acting Director Keck, Regional Administrator Murphy, and Chief Kevin Davis. Thank you so much for being here. Your words mean so much. So before we conclude, we want to show you our PSA, and I also want to tell you about a great contest that we are running. And of course, I'm going to turn to my PIO if you have any specific questions. But behind me, you're probably wondering, what is this all about? Behind me, you'll see we're advertising a contest where if you submit a video about how to avoid distracted driving and you win the contest, you will be invited to be a star in our upcoming video campaign on distracted driving. So again, if you're interested in details on that contest, please, I direct those questions to Tim Weisberg over here to my left, our new Deputy Director of Marketing and Public Affairs for the Office of Traffic Safety. With that, I'm going to turn to the team to go ahead and play our 15-second PSA. Take it away.
Drivers, before you get on the road, get off your apps. Go safely, California.
All right, again, that concludes our press event. If you have any questions, all of the representatives who spoke here today will stick around for a little bit. And I thank you and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.